All electrical work must be done by a qualified electrician. Axis will not move without any fault alarm showing on the screen. This is normally one of two things. 1. The encoder position on the screen is wrong, or 2. An input from a starter is not on. It does not take long to find out. Step 1 is to look at the manual screen to make sure that the axis that does not move is showing a position value that is valid. Example, the axis that does not move should not have a negative sign in front of the position number, or the numbers should not look out of sorts being longer than they should. Like 896.22 for an angle, and the number should reflect what you see visually looking at the machine. If any of the position information showing on the screen is wrong, then recalibrate that axis to the correct position. If the position on the screen is correct for the axis that does not move, then step 2 is to make sure that the input from the auxiliary contact on the motor starter for that axis is lit on the input module in the PLC rack. Explanation: all of your angle, centerline, hold down, and in-feed horizontal motor starters are energized or pulled in when the power is on to the machine and all the e-stops are set to run. That closes the auxiliary contact on the motor starters, which sends a voltage input to input modules in the PLC rack, which is the information to the PLC that the starters are ready and it is OK to engage the VFDs. Without that information, the PLC will never engage the VFD, thus not moving the axis, and it will not show any fault alarms on the screen. To find the location of the input in the PLC rack for the axis that does not move, you will need your electrical schematic to find the location and a voltmeter to measure the voltage on that input if the LED number for that input is not lit on the input module. We will use angle 2 as our example. Use page 1 of the electrical schematic drawing number 90507 to find the location of the motor starters for blade number 2. The drawing shows the location to be the stationary end electrical panel shelf number S1, and that it is the starter on the far right on that shelf. Now turn to page 2 to find out what the input wire number is from the auxiliary contact on that starter. The drawing shows it to be I009. Now you would turn to the page that starts to show the modules for the PLC system on the stationary end of the saw to find the location of the input module that input wire number I009 goes to. In this example, it will be page 7. Page 7 shows the location as rack number 0, which is the top PLC rack in the stationary end electrical panel. And the input module for I009 is in slot number 4 in that rack. And that the B1 LED is the indicator LED that should be lit. Now set your voltmeter to the AC setting and put one lead on wire number I009 on that input module, and the other lead on any wire labeled X2. If you read 120 volts on the meter and the LED is not lit, then the input module is bad. If you do not read any voltage, go to shelf S1. And on the starter on the far right, put one lead on wire number I009 and the other lead on any wire labeled X2. If you read voltage, then the wire from the starter to the input module is broken. If you do not read any voltage, then move the one lead from wire number I009 to wire number 1S, which should be on the screw terminal directly across from I009 on that starter. If you read 120 volts, then the contact on that starter is either full of sawdust or the starter is bad. Either way, turn off the main power to the machine and lock the disconnect out and change the starter. You can get the sawdust out of it, if that is the problem, back on the bench. If this did not fix the problem, call the MiTek Customer Service Department at 1-800-523-3380.